Once you see yeah.
Hi.
All right, children, I want everyone to be on mute, please.
I hope you can all see me, can you?
Yes.
Let's go to this. Yeah. Hi. Today I'm going to talk about bees. Have you ever gotten stung by a bee? Insects like butterflies are fascinating and loved, whereas wasps and leather jackets are not. I often wonder, why did God create such horrible and nasty creatures? But then I realized that at the beginning, everything was created perfect originally. They all lived in unity at the Garden of Eden. Well, bees are insects related to ants and wasps. They live all over the world except Antarctica, and there are 20,000 types of bees. That there are 20,000 types or species of bees. The most known bees are the honeybee and the bumblebee. People have kept honeybees for their honey for at least 4,000 years. Honeybees also produce a beeswax, which is used to make candles. There are quite a lot of places in the Bible where bees are mentioned. Here are few. So this is one verse, Judges 14:8. Then Psalm 118 verse 12 and Isaiah 7:18. Okay? So yeah. So do you know what is the life cycle of the honeybee? The honeybee is most likely in this area related to the butterfly. In sequence, it undergoes 4 stages to complete one life cycle, and that is egg, larva, pupa, and adult. Okay. Pollination. God created the flowers so colorful and beautiful to attract insects like bees. Bees get their food from flowers. What is their food? It's a sweet liquid substance called nectar, and it is a dust-like substance called pollen. Now this nectar is their food, so they will take it back to make honey too. So they feed it to to the baby bees, and they take back pollen too. So when a bee lands into a flower to sip nectar to take it back to his hive, the pollen, the dust-like substance, pollen, it catches onto the legs. So as it flies from flower to flower, they spill some pollen, which helps the flowers to make seeds through pollination. Many vegetables and fruits need pollination. They are very important. So usually the farmers keep on giving the next farmer the bees. So usually the bees go all around the country to help pollinate the fruits and veggies. It also plays a very important role, pollination, in farming. A beehive. A beehive is a place where bees live. It is a place where the bees stay, and they use it to store the honey and nectar, and yeah, just like a home. There are inside they build wax cells. They have hexagonal shapes. Then the types of bees in a hive. So there are a worker bee, queen bee, and worker bee, queen bee, and drone bee. So a queen bee is a very important bee. They lick to wash her and comb her and clean her, and she is the only bee that lays eggs in the whole hive. She lives up to 2 to 5 years, and if a queen bee dies, a royal cell is prepared for a new queen. A day-old larva which she laid, a bee that she has laid that still hasn't hatched, a day-old larva is placed inside the royal cell. When So then royal jelly is formed by glands in the heads of young worker bees that is fed to the larva that is in the royal cell, causing it to become a queen. So worker bees make up most part of the hive. A worker bee will perform 6 tasks throughout its life, not all bees those. So the first job is to clean the hive, the wax cells, clean the wax cells of the hive. Even the cell that was a bee was put in and it hatched, that cell will be cleaned and used for another bee. So the first job is to clean. The second job is to the second job is to act as a nurse to the other bees. I mean, the baby bees that the queen lays, those eggs will be put into the wax cells. So the worker bee has to act like a nurse, feeding the larvae what they need. Then they have to store nectar and pollen gathered by scout bees. Then they build and repair the hive. Then they guard the hive and then they become scout bees. They scout for nectar and pollen, hence their name. So scout bees are the bees that show direction. So now drone. A drone bee is a male honeybee. Unlike the female worker bee, it does not have a stinger and hence cannot collect nectar or pollen. So they are cared all their lives by the worker bees. But if the food storage in the hive in the winter months run low, the drones will be sent out of the hive. Now that reminds me of what 2 Thessalonians 3:10 has to say. For even when we were with you, this we commanded you, that if any would not work, neither should he eat. Enemies of bees. Bees, frogs, bees have enemies that are birds, mice, frogs, and some insects. So, if an enemy gets into the hive, the guards of the hive may put up a defense by stinging the enemy to death. Of course, the bees have no option or chance of moving the dead body. So what they do is they entomb the body in bee glue. Now once the body is entombed, there will be no danger of germs spreading from the dead body to the hive. The uniqueness in the bee's wings. Bees can the bees can lock their 2 wings with little hooks and eyes that God has placed on along the edges of their front and back wings. These single wings, when they attach it, they become single wings. So these single wings are used to go at faster speeds. God also designed their wings for a different purpose too. They can heat and cool and air condition their hive in a natural way. Lessons we can learn from bees. Teamwork. In bee colonies are perfectly organized social structures, and each of them makes an individual contribution and they work together. Bees cooperate and help each other as they work towards heating or cooling the hive for the beeswax to be worked. In our human world, we all truly depend on each other, but now we've become self-centered. So, teamwork is very important for a healthy society to live in harmony. Here is the verse. But if we walk in the light as he is in the light, if we have fellowship with one another, and the blood of Jesus, his son, purifies us from all sin. 1 John 1:7. If we have fellowship with one another. So teamwork. Then they are hard workers. Each bee has a specific role in the hive. They do not get confused by who has to do who. Each bee knows what to do, and they carry that task out. This small beehive is surprisingly complex. simple form, there is a queen, drones, and workers. Whatever you do, work at it with all your heart, as working for the Lord, not for human masters. Colossians 3:23. Mutual care. What is mutual care? In mutual care means when a bee collects nectar, it doesn't do it for itself. It when it collects nectar, it, when it collects nectar, the process of making the nectar into honey takes 2 months, and the bee normally lives for 30 days approximately. The worker bee that collects honey, I mean nectar and pollen, that only lives up to 30 days. It doesn't do it for itself. It does it for the survival of the hive. That means the bees never get to see the fruit of their labor, but still they work. Bear with each other and forgive one another if any of you has a grievance against someone. Forgive the Lord as the Lord forgave you. Yeah. So help to carry one another's burdens. A wonderful creation. The way a bee is made, their physical characteristics and their functions, how they make the hive and work together leaves us absolutely amazed at the handiwork of God. But if God created the bees with such potential to work hard, to work together and care for each other, how much more are we who are created in His own image? We are His masterpiece. We are fearfully and wonderfully made. I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Psalm 139 verse 11. Thank you.
Excellent.
Thank you, Jessa ma'am.
Abigail, you can switch off the recording. You can switch it off.